after 8 o'clock, but first we want to talk about Quinn Insurance. Now, more details have emerged about the running of the company and why insurance policy holders are looking at paying a 2% levy on their premiums. It's understood that around €600 million will be needed to cover the liabilities of Quinn Insurance once the sale of the firm goes through. Newstalk's Ian Guider has been trawling through legal documents and has made some fairly interesting discoveries. Ian, tell us about the role of Quinn Insurance in the UK and the losses it's sustained there.
Well, Shane, yesterday many people would have been horrified that we're going to have a levy on our insurance policies to pay for, legacy claims by Quinn Insurance. Well, I've been looking back through the original documentation when Quinn was put into administration last year by the financial regulator, and most of the losses are actually incurred in the UK, and that was one of the reasons why the administrators moved in, that the company was losing about €45 million on UK car insurance and professional indemnity. That's suing solicitors and accountants for fraud and the likes. I mean, this is not... I understand that the bad claims are all in the UK. It was writing business in the UK at very cheap levels, not putting aside enough money to pay out on these claims. And once you do that in insurance, you're heading for fall. The insurance cycle turns and you're going to be forced to pay out a lot of money.
So in layman's terms, what do insurance firms normally do when they take an insurance policy? And how much do they put away for sort of rainy days, if you like?
Well, the rainy day fund, if you hand over €100 in insurance for whatever, they should be putting aside about €40 of that aside, and should be building up a fund of about 150% of assets. So if you've got if you're expecting to pay out €100 in claims, you should be putting aside €150 in a fund that, in case, if it's weather-related claims that you pay out, so that money should be just left aside. It shouldn't be touched for anything else. But Quinn, it wasn't charging enough in the UK. It was expanding very quickly, offering cheap prices, but not putting enough aside. Now, the markets in Ireland and the UK are very different. On car insurance, they don't have the same road safety as we have over here. I know you were speaking about that a moment ago, but we are generally fairly safe in Europe. That doesn't happen in the UK. And also professional indemnity in the UK. People sue each other in the UK. We wouldn't dream of suing a country solicitor here, but in the UK it's endemic. They sue all the time.
So the UK is a much tougher market than here?
It's a much tougher market, and if you're not putting aside your money, you are going to get burned very quickly. It's happened. A lot of insurers have gone out of business in the UK. In the last 10 years alone, 2 insurance companies, Equitable Life, Independent Insurance, they've gone out of business because of not putting enough aside when claims come in.
And was the Quinn philosophy to try and drive business and generate revenue to come in as a way of getting around this?
Yes, it's chasing new business to drive enough money coming in to pay out for claims. They were offering very cheap car insurance. Often they were the cheapest in the UK market, which is populated by so many insurers, but Quinn would have been cheaper. I mean, I understand, just looking through some stuff I've done on Quinn in the past, they would have had to raise their prices by 3,000% to make some lines profitable.
3,000%?
3,000%.
That's extraordinary. What are the Quinn family saying about this? Are they pointing the finger of blame at anyone? I presume they're not pointing it at themselves.
Well, they're disputing a lot of these figures. I'm looking at figures in the original affidavit filed with the High Court in Dublin last year by the financial regulator. The Quinn family put out a statement overnight saying when they left the insurance company, when it was seized out of their control, that it was on course to make €20 million in profits in the first 3 months of last year. It had reduced its back claims count. But the figures I've been just looking at here, I mean, the staggering losses of €28 million on professional indemnity, another 15 or 16 on car insurance. And when Quinn had control of the company, the financial regulator here said, look, we're very concerned about what you're doing in the UK. You've got a problem here. If a lot of claims come in, you don't have enough money to pay out. Now, what Quinn said he would do was, instead of limiting risk, instead of saying, look, we won't take on any new business, or we'll stop this and put further money into the company, the actual solution they came up with was to take on more risk, to chase more new business. So you're chasing new business, taking on extra risk rather than dealing with the legacy claims here. And unfortunately, Irish taxpayers are now going to have to suffer a levy, 2% levy on every insurance policy, possibly for the next 10 years.
How can he credibly say, look, the business was in good nick when I left it? I mean, is he saying that whoever took over the business wasn't as good at managing the risk, wasn't as aggressive in dealing with claims and so on?
Well, yes, that's essentially what he was saying, that, in a few months before he took over, before the administrators took control, he had dealt with it, gotten rid of 2,500 claims off the books. They were ready to put more money into the company, and essentially the last 13 months it's been wrecked by the administrators and the financial regulator. Now, as I said, looking back at the affidavit which I have in front of me from the financial regulator, it's at odds with what Quinn is saying. I mean, the regulator is pointing at some very basic things like, just because you've got money coming in, an insurance company, cash coming in, that isn't money you play around with. That's money you set aside for a rainy day.
OK, thanks for that, Ian. Ian will be back with more business news at 7:20.
Now, 17 minutes past 7 this Wednesday morning. Welcome along to Newstalk Breakfast with Chris Donoghue.